Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and welcome to a weekly reading wrap-up where I tell you about all the things I finished reading in the last 7 days, and that number is 4. Side note, if you hear something odd in the background, that is probably my neighbor's dog who isn't just crying, she's wailing. She started doing this 3 days ago and I have no idea why. It's a little bit distressing as well as a little bit annoying, but anyway, so forging on with the books. The first thing that I read this past week was a romance novel, The Right Swipe by Alisha Rai. This is a contemporary romance novel about a woman named Ree who runs her own dating app, and she finds out that her one-night stand who ghosted her later, this guy named Samson, is actually working for her competitor, a dating site that she wants to buy. He wants to get back together with her. He's like totally into her, like everything about her, and she's not so sure, but she will certainly use their relationship for publicity and for any insider tips on how to connect with his aunt who owns this company that she wants to buy. But also, she's got some physical chemistry with him. So yeah, Ree and Samson embark on a series of like filmed dates where she's teaching him about dating and stuff, and the sparks are flying. I actually enjoyed this book far more for the side stories and the backstories than for the romance happening in the current moment. I did think that Ree and Samson were kind of a good couple in that they have strengths and weaknesses that really complement each other, and they like the type of person that the other is. But I wasn't really into either of them as people, let's say. However, their backstories, the fact that Ree basically underwent a sexual harassment campaign from her ex-boss slash ex-boyfriend from the company she previously worked at, and then how she deals with that. This is very much engaged in that Me Too conversation in like the corporate world. And then Samson's backstory is that he's an ex-famous football player, and his brother and his uncle were also famous football players who had CTE, really bad brain damage basically, and he quit because CTE, like head injuries, were not being addressed very well, and he became a caretaker for his uncle for like 10 years. His uncle slid into dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff. So that was really interesting. I thought the backstories for both of these people and how that kind of influences their behavior with each other, trust issues on Ree's side, and on Samson's side, he's been out of the world and out of the dating world, but just out of the social world so much after being a caretaker for so long, and that was really interesting. Wish I had enjoyed the romance bit a bit more. One thing I will say about this is it seems that a lot of people have very strong feelings about Ree in particular. She's a very business-like person, and she has a bit of coldness about her. I didn't mind that. I think it's interesting that the woman is the alpha character in this book, but I did not really like that there were some situations where she very blatantly says that she is out to essentially manipulate Samson emotionally to get what she wants. This tapers off eventually as she gets to know him better, but I just thought that was kind of a crappy thing to think, especially given what she's gone through in her previous relationship. Don't emotionally manipulate people for business reasons. That's probably the one reason why I didn't super like her, but anyway. There's already a second book in the series out, the Modern Love series, I think, and I'm kind of curious about it, so I'll probably continue. I reread a favorite story, Henrichs Demon by Lois McMaster Bujold. This is the first novella in the Penric and Desdemona series, which is set within her World of the Five Gods overall. And it's so good. I love coming back to this first novella when Penric accidentally receives his demon Desdemona and he has no idea what's going on. He's such a baby. He's so naive in this first story, but I think his essential goodness really comes through. This is somebody who sees the best in a situation right away, and even when he's ripped away from the life that he thought he would have and his family and everything, he's still good and kind, especially towards his demon who has never really been treated as a person before. I love it. I love it so much, and I will probably continue rereading these novellas because they're just the perfect stories to read right now. Oh, apparently I miscounted. I only have 3 things to talk about today. The 4th one I didn't finish. I DNF'd The Serpent by Claire North. So the last thing I have to talk about today is Other Minds, The Octopus, the Sea, and the Deep Origins of Consciousness by Peter Godfrey-Smith. This is a non-fiction book exploring octopuses and cephalopods, and if they are conscious, what would their experience of the world be like, and what can we tell about the inner life of cephalopods based on the research that's been done so far. This isn't just a science nonfiction book though. Godfrey-Smith starts it off right away telling you that he's going to kind of seamlessly weave in science but also philosophy. The question that he's asking here about octopus consciousness, what do they feel, what do they think the world is like, is a very philosophical question. And I really enjoyed this. I couldn't say that I would naturally be drawn to a book that describes itself as philosophical, but it was done really well here, and I just really enjoyed it. The author really blends in his own personal experience, deep sea diving and encountering these creatures, and recounts stories about the behaviors and the interactions he's had with like octopuses and cuttlefish and stuff, and it was really, really interesting. And it will always make me see cephalopods differently. I'd always heard about how intelligent octopuses seem to be, but that's kind of a trait it shares with other cephalopods like cuttlefish, which I'd never even heard of before, and squid and such. And it's really cool. I would definitely recommend this if you're interested in the topic. And by the way, I picked up this book specifically because it was mentioned by Adrian Tchaikovsky as an influence on his book Children of Ruin, and that is a science fiction novel that features a very advanced spacefaring octopus civilization, and I was fascinated by Tchaikovsky's descriptions of how the octopuses behaved and how they communicated with colors and motion and such, and that their brain structure was so different from, well, in the case of that book, humans and spiders. And I can definitely see how Other Minds influenced what Tchaikovsky was writing there. It's just really cool. Those are all the things that I finished reading this past week, and what I'm currently reading is Reaper Man by Terry Pratchett. This is another reread, and it's my last book for the Owls Readathon this month, which has been going very well for me. I'm glad that I only stuck with like 8 prompts instead of the full 12. It's been pretty relaxing this way. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Let me know if you have read any of these books, or if you want to, leave me a comment down below. And I will be back very soon with another video. And until then, bye.